everyone, it's Kara here from Boho Berry, and I'm here with another mini tip Monday. And what I want to talk to you about today is the weekly spread. And a weekly spread is something that I have never really been into. I found it redundant at times because you know how I love my daily pages. I talk about them all the time and how they're the heart and soul of my bullet journal. Well, I've found myself recently with so many appointments, events, and tasks for each week that I wanted to have a place to keep them and have a glance at my whole week at once. So I created this weekly spread, and there's so many people out there using weekly spreads. There's so many different variations. You really can craft it and make it work for you and for what you need it to do. But I've been getting a lot of questions on this on Instagram, so I thought I would walk through what I have done with my weekly spread. And this is the second week that I'm using it. My first week is right here, and you can see it's all filled out, and I've migrated over the tasks that I did not complete last week. I migrated those over to this week, and then I added on different little things that needed to get done. But the way I've set this up is I have two columns for my week. I start my weeks on Monday, which I know is weird to some, but I have two columns for my week. The first column is for my scheduled events and appointments. So anything that has a time attached to it goes here on the left-hand side. And then on the right are my scheduled, I guess my deadlines, you could call it, but these are things that happen on certain days of the week or that need to get done on a certain day of the week, not necessarily at a certain time. So I know that was causing some confusion for people. How do you decide what goes in which column? But that is the basic gist of that side. So I have scheduled events that have a time frame attached to them. And then these are events that just happen on any certain day or deadlines that I may have coming up. On the right-hand side, I split this into a few different categories. As far as my to-do list, I split it into three basic categories. So I've got my regular to-do list, which essentially is anything that does not fit into my other two categories. But I have a category for home, which is stuff that needs to get done around the house. And then I have a category for blog and business, which are tasks that I need to get done related to my blog and business for the week. Everything else just kind of goes in the regular to-do column. And then I have my meals planned out for the week. This doesn't necessarily mean that we will have salmon and asparagus on Monday night. All it means is that this is what I'm shopping for. And I like to shop on a weekly basis. I feel like I waste less food that way. So I plan out my meals. I plan out 7 meals for the week. I go shop for it. And then I know that I have everything on hand to make any one of these meals for the week. So that's how I do my meal planning. I don't assign dinners to any specific day of the week. I simply make sure that I have everything on hand, and when I'm ready to cook, I can pick from the list whatever I feel like making. And then these are my dailies, and this is something on my first weekly spread. I called it tasks, but I was getting that a little confused. Tasks and to-dos are normally kind of the same thing in my book. So I decided to call it daily instead. And these are just things that I want to keep track of that I did on any certain day. So I've got replying to blog comments, YouTube comments, clearing out my email inbox, and then I do yoga 3 times a week and I run 3 times a week. So the circles are for when I want to get those things done, and the dashes are days that I do not do those things. Sundays are a day that I have decided to completely take the day off from email. Email is crazy for me. I get a lot of email throughout the week, and I just decided I needed to have one full day where I did not look at email. So that's why there's a dash there. But otherwise, I think that's kind of self-explanatory. I'll just mark it off as I go. And you can see in last week's iteration, and I don't necessarily have to get these done each day. That's why you see some blank ones. However, I like having the option there to log if I responded to all my comments that day, if I cleared out my email that day. And then yoga and running, these are scheduled. I like to make sure that I get all 6 of those days in, and then Sunday is kind of a do whatever I want as far as working out goes. So on Sunday, sometimes I'll do yoga, sometimes I'll go for an extra run, sometimes I'll just stretch, and sometimes I won't do anything at all, and that's okay. So this is my weekly, and then what I do throughout the week is I just pull tasks from this list and add them into my daily pages. And then I'll keep migrating them forward until they get done or they fully get migrated on to the next week. So you can see here are the tasks that I did not get done. All of those got migrated over. And in case you're curious, this little M on the left-hand side, that was a delegated task. So it did get done. The downstairs got vacuumed, but the M is for Mark, my husband. He actually vacuumed the downstairs, so that was very sweet of him. But yeah, I hope that gives you a good idea of how I am using the weekly spread. As always, I think it's important to experiment on your own. There's different ways that you could lay this out based on your needs. And the way I have my to-dos broken up into categories, you could even think of that as different projects that you have going on this week. You could list out your different projects and the tasks for each one. I mean, there's so many ways that you could lay this out and separate it based on what you need. But I hope this gives you kind of an idea of how my weekly spread works. So what I will do throughout the week is I will write down these tasks in my dailies on whatever day I want to tackle them. And then once they get finished, I will cross them off. I don't do anything to them unless they're finished or the week is over. Once the week is over, any open bullets that have not gotten done will get an arrow and they'll get migrated to the next week. So that's how I plan on using that. But I think overall it's really important just to think about what will work for you particularly. A lot of people do not use a weekly spread at all. It's not included in the original bullet journal system. And I was one of those purists, I guess you would say, where I only use dailies, but my life got a little hectic and overwhelming and I felt the need to kind of organize more on a weekly basis. So that's what I'm doing here. And I may stick with it, I may not. I'm going to see how it goes for a few weeks, but it's all really just a big experiment in the bullet journal anyway. You try different things, you see what works for you, what doesn't work for you. If something doesn't work, it's totally fine. You just turn the page and don't use it again or try something different. So yeah, I just wanted to give you all an overview of what I am trying out this week and actually for the rest of the month. And if you have any questions, as always, feel free to leave those in the comments below and I will be happy to join in the conversation. And I will see you all on Friday. Bye.